I'm Elly. Today I'm going to tell you a plot, and the book's title is Grandparents' Day. In Plunkett Street School, it was Grandparents' Day, so every student's grandparents were coming to school. And when they were all preparing, Miss Fazio was the loudest one who was saying, "And run paper things to the bin, and some trash to the bin, and clear your desks, and everyone, one last thing, do your best behavior." And Nelson says, "Cool," in a really silly face. And Miss Fazio asked, "Nelson, did you hurt me?" Then he said, "Yes, miss." So she let every grandparent in. One, Bruno's grandfather was really tall, so his head almost hit the ceiling. And Ming's grandmother was so small that she was a little inch bigger than Ming. She's small. And Beatrice and Brooke's grandmothers just was always giggled and whispered to each other. And Rahib's grandfather says, "What did she say? I can't hear anything." So Rahib put his hearing aid on because he couldn't hear well without his hearing aid. And Nelson's grandfather just waved at Nelson, and Ruby's grandfather can't see well. So he said, "What is this and what is that?" He said like that. And Ruby asked, "Do I have to get your glasses?" But she said, "No, I'm okay." And Heeny's grandmother all laughed. Okay, and Miss Fazio said, "Enjoy themselves." Leon's grandmother kissed him so much, so Leon tried to get out from her, but she only hugged him more. And Bruno's grandfather looked out of the window in a great sports field view, and Mouse's grandfather found a magazine in a bin and read them in a great spot. And then Heeny's grandmother looked at all the funny artworks and laughed. And Beatrice's and Brooke's grandmothers whispered to each other when Beatrice and Brooke was showing them the art. And Ruby's grandfather says, "Is that a chair?" "Well, I thought that was a flower pot that I sat on because I thought it was a chair," he said. "So I don't want to end up with more spikes in my bottom," he said. Nelson's grandfather was really like Nelson. He scrambled in his seat. He looked uncomfortable, so he scrambled again and scrambled again, just like Nelson, like this. The two of them are same. And Ruby's grandfather still didn't put on his glasses, so he put a dirty tissue on a frog tank. That it was that tissue was something is from his nose, and he thought it was a bin, but there was a frog tank. But he didn't put his glasses, so he couldn't read this. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. "Attention, life cycle project tank. Live frogs inside. Do not remove lid without teacher's permission." But the frogs all shoot out the way, and one landed in Ming's grandmother's head. And Nelson laughed, "A frog!" But Ming's grandmother didn't notice, so she was wondering why a little clumsy kid was pointing to her and yelled that it's frog. She get her hair to back her hairs back and comb her hair. She feel the frog. It was ski and it was cold. and slimy, but then it moved. So she said, frog! But Teeny's grandmother, I guess she's a little bit brave. She laughed at the frogs that was leaping out. And Bruno's grandfather found a frog and he said, I found one, but it bended, but he hurt his. But actually, if you're old, your back hurts. Everywhere usually hurts, and so he need a younger person to grab one, and they decided to grab many things, and there were one frog left. Name was Flip Flop, and it was Rahib's frog, and they found a jumpy or whatever it is, and then Rahib's grandfather have a hearing aid, so he made a hearing aid that he could hear as loud as he can and make everyone be extra quiet. And he says, "Do you feel anything?" And Rahib says, "Can you feel it?" He said, "Shh." And when he heard again, Rahib asked, "Can you hear now?" Shh. He said like that. And once he went into Ruby's grandfather, and he was holding a frog, and the frog was all just the frog was trying to escape, and Ruby's grandfather said they didn't make pencil sharpeners like they used to, because he could see all of his glass. So that's because it's a frog, gasped Ruby, and then Rahib said Flip Flop, and Nelson's, and when all frogs were inside the tank, and everyone enjoyed themselves. And then Miss Wazia said, everyone, hello. I just wanted you all to know that morning tea is ready. But nobody listened, but only Leon's grandmother listened. Like this. Everyone, Miss Wazio has something to say. And Miss Wazio turned bright pink red. And so she said, oh, I just want everyone to know that there is a morning tea and there is cake outside. Cake! They all ran up, and everything, and just in a second, everything was gone, because they eat a lot. But nobody get around to their grandparents except Ruby, because to help her grandfather, he was actually trying to eat a cupcake, but he actually ate a plastic cup. So she said, "Hey, are you really sure, Ruby? Not a cupcake?" He said, "I'll get your glasses." She said, "Please, Grandpa, please put on your glasses." But Grandpa said, "No, I'm okay. I can see well," he said. And then Nelson's grandfather was eating and said, "Nelson, what am I? What am I?" And now, can you guess what Nelson said? Can you guess?
I don't.
A frog with a mouth full of food. And he said like this, "Nelson, what am I? What am I?" He said, and then Nelson said, "A frog with a mouth full of food." Everything was inside his mouth. Yucky, but he just said, and he laughed, and the food is in his mouth showed, and he said, "Nelson, what am I? What am I?" He said so. Nelson said he was a frog. And then even some kids say, can you guess that they were really at their best behavior? But no one laughed louder than Heeny's grandmother. Then once, one grandfather said, "What? Hiccup's gone?" So really, actually, Heeny's grandmother's hiccups were gone, but she laughed again, and so her hiccup never stopped, because, but one one time someone said, "Whoa!" So she was scared, and Hiccup stopped, but she just always laughed and laughed. So Heaney was a little embarrassed, and so but she really laughed a lot. Okay, and today I told you a plot about Grandparents' Day. I guess usually these kids are they look a little similar like their grandparents, don't you think? Bruno's grandfather. I'm going to tell you, everyone, actually, they are grandparents, and this is Ruby's grandparent, and Nelson's grandfather, and Ming, and I'm going. Ming is not in this book, but Ming is really similar to her grandmother. And one more thing, Rahib. Okay, it's really similar. Okay, not this. Rahib. This one, Rahib's grandmother. It's really similar, right? Okay, and today I told you a plot about Grandparents' Day. Okay, thank you for seeing this video. Bye!